Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Trauma Recovery University. I am your host, Athena Moberg, and with me in the green room is your amazing co-host, Bobby Parrish, and we have an awesome episode for you tonight. If this is your first time joining us, this is an interactive broadcast. You can tweet us questions. This is a live Q&A Twitter chat / Google Hangout on air / live streaming YouTube event every single Monday at 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 6 p.m. Pacific, and 9 p.m. Eastern. And we already have several people that are joining us live and tweeting out their greetings and their questions. And tonight's topic is childhood sexual abuse myths versus the truths or the facts about childhood sexual abuse. So I do want to welcome you, especially if you are tuning in on a podcast platform such as iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or even iHeartRadio. We do want to remind you again that this is a video broadcast, and we invite you to check out our YouTube channel, and you can find that by going to youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV. And you'll find all of season 1 episodes, over 54 hours, I think, in syndication at this point, along with our Roku TV channel. You can search for Trauma Recovery University by going to any Roku device and going up to the search bar and searching for Trauma Recovery University. So once again, welcome, and welcome if you're tuning in from the UK. It is after 2 o'clock in the morning there, and you guys are so amazing and so dedicated. Our audience is growing and growing, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to spend this hour with us. So please follow along with our hashtag. Our hashtag that you can tweet us questions at is No More Shame. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to your co-host, Bobby Parrish, and she's going to update us on a whole bunch of housekeeping items, our virtual summit that is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and that is on the topic of narcissistic abuse, and just some other fun things going on with our annual anthology, No More Shame November, and some other fun things, and a trigger warning and how to reach out to RAINN. Take it away, Bobby.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you reminded me about RAINN. So let me say that first and foremost. This chat is a chat about childhood sexual abuse. So please take good care of yourself while you're listening. It can be very triggering. If you are triggered, if you're in crisis, if you need help urgently, please reach out to RAINN, the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. They have a hotline at 1-800-656-HOPE, HOPE. And if you would like to talk to them via chat, they have a crisis chat feature on their website as well. So just to let you guys know, I know we've talked about this probably about the last month, but next week is our birthday. August 27th will mark 1 year that we have been doing these episodes, these Google Hangouts / Twitter chats, and we're so thrilled to have been able, just had the privilege to be here every week with you guys and to help make your recovery easier and quicker. Athena and I are both trauma survivors ourselves. In case you don't know that, we talk about it all the time, but in case you don't know, Athena and I are both the trauma survivors ourselves, and it took us a long time to recover. And we're not beginning to say that we're all there yet. We're still on the journey. But when we met each other and we got together, we knew that there had to be something we could do that would help make other people's journeys not so long and not so difficult. So this Google Hangout that happens every Monday is a big part of our effort to contribute to other people's recovery being simpler and being faster. So we have a special event coming up, and we want everyone to sign up for it, to register. And I'm going to show my handy dandy sign that I made.
Your sign. I love your sign.
It's if I back it up so I'm not holding it in front of my face. There we go. bit.ly/narcissistic abuse event. It's on my website, bobbyparish.com. So run over there and register. It is a free event on the 29th of August, and it will be led by myself, Athena, and Bree Bonchet, who is a licensed clinical social worker who works with narcissistic abuse. She focuses more on adult narcissistic situations and relationships, whereas Athena and I have more experience with the childhood aspect where one of your parents or siblings is a narcissist. However, unfortunately, Athena and I have also, as adults, been in relationships with narcissists. So we have all sorts of experience, and we are going to walk you through the process of understanding what is a narcissist, how do they operate, how do they get you into a relationship with them and then keep you there as long as they can, how you can get out of it, and how you can recover from the damage done to being in a relationship with a narcissist. And we are so excited to be bringing you this information because of all of the video episodes that we have done, the most views have been our episode on narcissistic abuse. So you have told us loud and clear.
1,300. I think it's like over 1,300. I think it's almost 1,400 views by now. And the other video episodes that we've done are only in the hundreds.
So we know that this is something that you guys want more information on. So pop on over to the website. Oh, here goes my sign again. There's my sign.
Yay!
I have to back up. There it is. Woo! Obviously, this is not my finest work. However, I love it anyway.
I love your sign. I think it's very creative. I love it. Seriously.
My next one, maybe I'll do in gold glitter or something. But anyway,
I forgot one thing that I meant to mention, Bobby, that I forgot to mention at the very beginning. We received another nastygram.
Oh,
I know. So to all of you people out there who don't appreciate our personality and our laughing and smiling and our banter back and forth and our interacting with our audience, and you would prefer that we be very serious and very doom and very gloom and very, there is no hope, there is only this, then I'm sorry, but this is our channel and no one has a gun to your head making you watch this, I hope. So please, we appreciate your feedback, letting us know that you don't want us to laugh and smile. We really do appreciate you. Our hope is that you can mute us, perhaps just go download the one-page downloadable resource. You don't have to listen to our personalities, or, you know, have an open mind and perhaps smile, or, you know, I mean, if you're watching this channel, we've spent most of our lives suffering different types of abuse, and some people were trafficked, some people have experienced torture, some people were lent out or abused for decades of their lives, and this is not a place where we want to sit around and cry and be upset about what happened. We are here to equip you with tools and tips and strategies for you to feel better today, and hopefully gather those, put them in your toolbox, and move forward with a new lease on life, finding hope in whatever way you possibly can. So it's kind of one of those sorry, not sorry. I'm not sorry that I laugh and I smile, and I'm not sorry that Bobby does. And I'm grateful for you, but this is our channel. So we're gonna share our personality and be thinking of you and hoping to provide value for you in your recovery journey. Thank you for listening.
Okay, that's our second hater, but that's not too bad. Only 2 haters in a year.
I think it was our 4th. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I think I deleted
You've shared some hate.
I know.
You've deleted some hate.
I did. I deleted the hate mail. I mean, because some of it's just very non-productive, but I feel the need, since it came in again just this past week, amidst dozens of messages that were thanking us and telling us that their lives are changed and that they're excited to be in community with others. I just have to hit the delete button, like, thank you, but you don't have to watch us. So I mean that in the nicest way and most encouraging, kind way possible, of course.
But we do want everyone else to watch us and help us celebrate our birthday next week and sign up for the narcissistic abuse event. Even if you cannot be there for either all of the event or any of the event live, still sign up, because we will be sending out a link to the replay to everyone who signs up or who registers for the event. So if you want to be able to have access to the replay, then do definitely hop on over and sign up for that. Within the next probably week or so, we'll be sending out the link where you can watch the event, and it will be very much like these Google Hangouts. Bree and Athena and I, you'll be able to watch us live, and we'll be presenting both content and our personal stories regarding interactions with narcissism. And then you will be able to tweet us during the event, and we will also be monitoring a particular Facebook page where you can post comments if you don't have a Twitter account. We've gotten many emails from people saying, I don't have a Twitter account, how can I still participate? So we do have a Facebook page that we'll be monitoring, and we will also be monitoring the private messages on that Facebook page. So if you would like to interact with us privately during the event, then use the private messages feature on the page that will send you the link to. I've had also several people ask me, how can I interact with you privately? Because I don't want the world to know that I have this kind of an experience with a narcissist. And sometimes that's very wise, because narcissists can be very angry people, and they can promise to do us harm when we leave relationships with them. So we completely understand it, and that's why we'll be monitoring the private messages feature on the page that we give you.
Yes, I'm thinking of enlisting someone besides myself and you and Bree to be monitoring all of this. I'm thinking of actually hiring a moderator, or reaching out to our community and seeing if anybody wants to volunteer to moderate this 4-hour event, and be perhaps answering some questions or making sure that we see some questions or whatever. That's kind of the wise thing to do. What I've seen other people do during virtual summits is like, you know how Kate does that with John Lee Dumas when he does his webinars,
Right.
like she sort of moderates.
Right.
Yeah, I think we might need a little bit of help, especially since we have, how many hundred people have signed up so far? Is it like 200 people?
250. We have 250 signed up so far.
Okay.
So,
and I mean, over 100 of those came in the first 24 hours of us even posting it, right? So yeah, this is kind of a hot topic, you guys. So we want to make sure that we're providing as much value as possible, and we're fully present with you and giving you our very best, because we feel like you deserve it. We feel like you kind of got the short end of the stick to begin with if you're dealing with narcissistic abuse. And we want to provide as much value as possible. And I don't mean that in some sort of like weird salesy, smarmy way. Like, I'm just sincerely, we want to provide value to you, and we want to be fully present and give you the best amount, the most we possibly can, and the best of us as much as we possibly can, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Bobby?
That makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. We are getting so close to No More Shame November, when our second anthology will be published. And I met this last week with our publisher, talked with them about republishing the first anthology, getting it out in paperback form, which we haven't been able to do yet, and marketing events. So everything is moving along with our publisher, Book Trope, and only 2 months away from No More Shame November. Hop over to nomoreshameproject.com and click the button that says Pinnables. Is that right? Pinnables?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I believe it is the button that says Pinnables. And really quick, I want to give a shout out to Wimple Bovine and to Denise. It is their first time watching us tonight. Yay, confetti! And we just wanted to give you a very special welcome. We're so happy that you've chosen to spend this hour with us. So thank you. I can't figure out who else. I don't know who else is their first time, but I know it's their first time. Denise and Wimple Bovine, Julianne.
Yes, yes. And Yellow Nehru is here too.
Hi, Yellow Nehru. We always love it when you join us. It's like family night. We love it.
And Malin or Malin. I am so sorry if I'm not saying it correctly.
Hi, Tiffany.
Sent us a really cute video saying that don't let the haters get to you. The fact that you have haters means you're probably famous. So,
right? I don't think we're famous. We're not the cool kid crowd. We're the crowd that nobody wants to be a part of.
yeah, I always tell people I hate that you're in our club, but I'm so glad that you're here now within the fold of our club so that we can help.
Matt is having video problems, so we're so sorry, Matt. We're getting ready to dive into content on our one page, and we just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge each of you. Melissa, and oh my gosh, there's just so many. There's so many people. I feel like I'm missing so many people, Bobby. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
If I didn't mention you personally, and yeah, I'm sorry if I'm missing you. I had a little bit of a triggering day/week. So I'm happy to be sitting here and not curled up in the fetal position, rocking myself, maybe like eating belly button lint or something right now. I'm just happy to sort of, I'm happy to be here with you and be fully functioning. And I'm going to do my best to just make sure that you guys know that you're important and everything that you've been through is valid. And these myths, this morning during chat, these myths were very, very, very triggering for many people. Why are myths being discussed so triggering? Well, it's because all of us, or many of us, have heard these myths. And these myths are what caused us to not only feel devalued and minimized, but it perpetuated our abuse. And if it wasn't for perhaps that one particular myth, maybe our recovery would have began, a decade sooner, and then we would be farther along and we wouldn't be feeling the way we feel now, whether it's because we're having suicidal ideation or we're struggling with mental illness or something, or even the way that it manifests itself physically in our body as well. So this can be so triggering, and we just want you to know that each of you guys matter. And if we leave out any of these myths, like if there are more myths that you can possibly think of, please feel free to tweet those out using the hashtag #NoMoreShame anytime, 24/7, 365, even if you're watching this video a year from now. I just wanted you to know that your voice matters, your story matters, what happened to you matters, and it shouldn't have happened. And we are here to support you 100% unconditionally, and that's why we do this broadcast every week. So, yeah. Just wanted to say that, Bobby. What do you think?
This morning was a difficult chat. And I think it's, like you said, and one of the reasons that it feels so overwhelming is when you see all of those myths congregated in one place. And so many of us had slammed into the wall of them. For example, one of the myths that was talked about this morning is that if you don't remember your abuse until you're an adult, it's not true. And that whole myth of false memory syndrome. When I was in the thick of my recovery, that was something that my family hit me with. Well, this can't possibly be true because you didn't bring it up before. Like somehow there's a statute of limitations to bring up the things that happened to you as a child. Like if a certain amount of time passed, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, forget it. You can't bring it up anymore. You lost your chance. Love that logic, right? And so it was kind of, I guess, a slap in the face for many of us to look at how we have been so incredibly impacted by these myths. I think to me, it reminded me of when we talked about executive functioning, probably 4 or 5 months ago now. And we talked about the damage that trauma does to your brain and the weight of seeing that and knowing how that's a permanent piece of damage. Not that we can't build other tracks and pieces into our brain, but we can never rebuild what we lost, despite how plastic our brain may be. That can be a heavy thing to confront. And this morning it was heavy too, to confront all of the myths that many of us have been judged accordingly to. So if you don't know, if you're new to our broadcast, you're new to us, I want to give just a really brief overview of how we work, the services that we provide. We have 3 Twitter chats every week, and we have the same topic throughout the entire week. The first Twitter chat is Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. in the UK. And that Twitter chat was specifically started for our British audience. However, we have people from all around the world that watch that one. Even people here in the US, maybe they work at night or they work from home, and that just is a better fit for their schedule. And then we have this one that's on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 2 a.m. to you up late people in the UK.
Ooh,
And then we have our third
sleep,
one
we
on
love
Tuesday
you.
nights. Yes. Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Time is our third Twitter chat, and that's the original one. We talk about the same topic each time, and the reason we do that is because the topic kind of matures as it goes, and we get different angles and different viewpoints. And if you attend every single one of those Twitter chats, I guarantee you'll get something different out of each one. And this morning was just weighty, with people sharing how they felt that those myths have been placed upon them as judgments and restrictions. So I'm going to pull up the one page. Our one page resources are something that Athena and I put together every week. And the reason that we've put them together is because we want all survivors to have access to easy to understand educational information about trauma and about the after effects of trauma, and then easy to implement, well, simple to implement, maybe not always easy.
Yes.
Strategies.
Simple but not easy.
Yes, there you go.
This is never easy, folks. This is not the easy broadcast.
No, this is not the easy broadcast. We should put that on like a tagline or something. This is not the easy broadcast.
If you're looking for easy, you're in the wrong place.
So the first part of the one page is education. The second part are tips and strategies that you can implement now. Now, most of the time, this one we're just talking about myths. Here's the myth, here's the truth. And we had so many of them that I messaged Athena and said, I'm so sorry. I'm sending you the content for the one page, and it is just beastly full. So she worked her magic, and you'll see here in a minute that it looks wonderful. But what we wanted was for each of you to have just a quick resource for a whole bunch of information, topics. There we go. That's the word. We talk about faith. We talk about forgiveness. We talk about coping with medical examinations. We talk about, hygiene, all sorts of things, boundaries, how to interact with your family, how to cope when your abuser dies. All of these have a one-page piece of information that if you go to the NoMoreShameProject.com and you click on the tab that says downloadables, they will all be there. And the newest are at the bottom. So if you're looking at this video on YouTube and it's dated, in August of 2015, scroll down to the bottom. Whereas if it's in September of 2014, look near the top because it's going to be up there because we started at the end of August in 2014. And so I'm going to pull up the one page now. If you want to go over and pull that down for yourself off of the website, or you can just watch the one that I'm going to put up.
There is one myth that was tweeted in by Simi. Thank you, Simi. That I don't think that I put on the one page, and if I did, I'm misremembering. I've had a very full day. But when we play the tape in our head, we as the survivor play the tape in our head that says, if only I had known, I could have stopped this. Or maybe it's the person we're trying to tell, like the parent or whatever. Oh, if I would have known, I could have stopped it or something. That it was a myth that Simi had tweeted in. If only I had known blank, 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 I could have stopped this. That is a misnomer. And it's also a little bit of a cop-out, you guys. I remember a family member of mine coming here to Hawaii to visit me, and we were driving down the road, And I had shared with him, please, I need you to not touch me, especially while I'm driving. You're triggering me. And this is why, and this is what happened when I was younger. And I've told you about this several times before. And his response was, oh, well, gosh, I wish I would have known that. I would have done something about it. I would have done this and this and that to them. That's what I would have done. And I'm sorry, but that's a lie, because you did know and you did nothing. So sorry. Like, just because years later you want to pretend that you didn't know to make yourself feel better, it doesn't make it true. So
No.
I don't know if that's what send me meant or not, but that's what it made me think of.
Well,
and that's just an example of what the chat went like this morning. There were
right.
80 or 90 myths, and every single time we each read one, we were like, ooh, mama bear, grrr, and like we would tweet back. And you know, it's like, it really pings you deep, because these are things that people really said, like, really?
And continue to say, this isn't over.
Yeah.
Many of these myths are still very pervasive. The public hangs on to them, and 99% of them are victim blaming and shaming. And that just blows my mind to think that our society can blame a child for being sexually abused.
Or that they seduced. I have a client who was literally told by the police that she seduced her grandfather.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sorry. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding? She was 7.
Yeah.
7, folks. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not 17, not 27. 7. Picture a 7-year-old child. If you have children, picture a 7-year-old. That makes them in about the 3rd grade. Yeah. Sorry. No.
Actually, they would still be in the 1st or 2nd grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I mean. I mean, seriously.
Right. Again, victim blaming.
It is.
Victim blaming.
It totally is.
And that one fits in with like somehow the power to stop the abuse was within the hands of the child. And it's not. And sometimes even, and we'll talk about this myth here in a few moments, even when children come forward and report their abuse, it is a myth that things always halt, stop, police are called in, charges are brought forth, and it never happens again. That's a myth. So, yeah, a lot of victim blaming and shaming, and a lot of denial of the incredible damage done to children by being abused in their childhood, sexually, physically, emotionally, verbally, and neglect. So let's pull up the one page. Let's dig into these different myths. I heard you take a breath.
Me?
Yeah.
I did?
Oh, I thought I wanted to say something.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm good.
Okay. Let me entertain you. No, okay. So, child sexual abuse myths versus truths. One page. Let me get that off my page there. There you go.
There you go. That looks beautiful.
So, the myths surrounding childhood sexual abuse are numerous, and they pervade every aspect of our society. They're almost, like we just talked about, 100% victim blaming and shaming, minimizing the abuse's damage, and protective of perpetrators. And you'll see that as we go through each one of these. And I want to emphasize this next sentence. I want to stand on top of my condo and scream this one. As victims, it is not our responsibility to educate society and debunk these myths. It's not. It is not your responsibility. Just like it is not your responsibility that you were abused. But we can benefit from educating ourselves about them and fellow survivors. So that, I think, It doesn't mean you're responsible for educating your fellow survivors. But when we are in community and you see someone suffering because they have been taught a myth that they have not yet been taught the truth to, I think it is a good thing to say, you know, that's wrong. That's a myth. That's not true. It wasn't your fault. You didn't seduce your grandfather. Here, let's look at the truth. I want you to understand and know the truth, and I want you to hang on to the truth instead of that lie. But it's just not our responsibility to educate society. Is it a good thing to do? Okay. If you have the time, if you have the energy, you know, let's do it. But for many of us, we are in the midst of our own recovery. And in this moment is not the time to shift our energy into standing on the street corner with a sandwich board debunking myths. But eventually we'll get there with our guest post articles and our podcast interviews and speaking from the stage and just talking. But please don't let anybody try and convince you it is your job to speak the truth and educate everyone else. Okay, this is one of my pet peeve myths. Children are sexually abused by strangers. This is such a dangerous myth because the truth is that children who are sexually abused, sexually assaulted, 94% of the time, they know the perpetrator. It's a family member, a teacher, a coach, a neighbor, a friend's father, a clergy member, anyone, a babysitter. They know, the child knows that person. And by process of, and usually by that process, the family also knows that person. Okay, so it's not a stranger. A stranger danger, okay, yes, we need to educate our children. Don't get into the van of a man who says he's going to give you candy and a puppy. Don't do it. But we very much need to teach our children body safety, body awareness, and boundaries with everyone. For example, this morning in chat, someone talked about it's okay to tell your children if Uncle George wants to hug you and grab you and have you stood on his lap, it's okay to say no if you're not comfortable with that. It's okay.
Yeah. Julianne just tweeted in a myth. Abusers are the type of person lurking in the bushes looking to abuse every and any child. And then Simi said that there's another myth that we tell ourselves, if only I had said no, maybe it would not have ever happened.
Right. And again, victim blaming.
Yeah.
Myth, victim blaming. You know, I'm trying to remember what I wrote, what article I wrote, but, you know, I get this image in my head when people talk about, you know, the infamous stranger child sexual abuse survivor. You know, they're that middle-aged guy that still lives in his mother's basement and survives on Hot Pockets and playing video games. And he lives for...
I thought it was Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Well, yeah, that too. You know, and he spends hours at the park down the street, you know, watching the children play on the equipment. He's scruffy looking and, you know, never held down a real job. Again, it's the myth that we can spot a perpetrator. Like somehow they all fit the same standard image. Not true. Not true, not true, not true. And we'll talk about that one a little bit more as we go down. The second myth, all child sexual abusers are adult men. No.
No.
No, no, no. 13, I looked this up, 13% of child sexual abuse perpetrators are women. That's more than 1 in 10. Child sexual abuse perpetrators can also be children. They can be the older child next door. It can be a sibling. For some reason right now, I have a large percentage of people in my private practice who are the victims of sibling abuse. And it is heartbreaking because we don't acknowledge that one very readily. There's that myth of, oh, it's normal to play doctor. Playing doctor is one thing. When your brother, who's 7 years older than you, traps you in his bedroom and forces himself upon you, that is not playing doctor.
I have a client in my private practice who was abused by her sibling as an infant. The abuse began when she was a baby and went on until she was, I believe, 11.
But that's not publicly acknowledged.
No.
And that one is especially buried within families.
It is.
Because
I think we need to do a video broadcast on
podcast.
Pre-verbal, like pre-verbal abuse.
Oh, right. There you go.
Infant or pre-verbal. I think
Yes.
that's something that's becoming a little bit more not popular, but I've been hearing it a lot more lately. And Denise just tweeted out another myth that the blame lies with your hormones. If you hadn't hit puberty so early, you wouldn't have been attracting adults.
I'm sorry, that's not funny, but you know what? Some of these just strike me as so ludicrous.
They are.
That they're funny. And that's so true, Denise. Absolutely. One of the things my abuser told me was that it was my fault. If I hadn't been so appealing, if I hadn't seduced him, he wouldn't have done it. And of course, as a 3-year-old, I can just, have this vision in my head of how seductive I was, right? Right? No. The next myth, only girls are sexually abused. No. And I am so proud of the men in our community who speak up about their abuse to help shatter this myth and make it easier for other men to join our group and talk about it. 1 in 4 girls are sexually assaulted before the age of 18. 1 in 6 boys. Same statistic. That is not a significant difference, you guys. It's just not.
No. If you're standing in a group of you and 3 other people and you and 5 other people, guess what? Put it this way, regardless of the sex, the gender of the group of people you're standing in, if it's you and 5 other people, let's say you're standing in line at a restaurant, like one of those places where you walk up to the counter and order.
Right. McDonald's.
Like a McDonald's or even other type, like we have this fish tacos place here called Ohana Tacos that, you have to stand in line and order and you take it to go, right?
Right.
If there are 6 people total in line, regardless if they're females or males, think about this the next time you walk into a restaurant or the DMV or the bank. If you are there with 5 other people, one of you has been sexually abused before the age of 18, regardless.
Right.
That's just earth-shattering and astonishing. And Tiffany Frank just tweeted in from a 2009 case study, a child whose biological mother is living with a man who is not the child's biological father is 33 times more likely to suffer abuse.
Wow.
I believe it. That was me.
And that kind of ties into this next one. Child sexual abuse only happens in poor, minority, uneducated, dysfunctional families. We have this, I think society, we certainly, those of us who are listening to this right now are not amongst the we because we've been slapped in the head with the reality. Society has this image that sexual abuse only happens in, trailer trash, don't know any better, I don't know, backwood Appalachian kinds of families. And that is so untrue. Child sexual abuse happens in every kind of family and in every kind of community. It is an equal opportunity crime.
We have someone that we know in our community, you guys, that emails us quite often. I'm in regular contact with him. He comes from a family that was very prominent. Their family was very affluent, and the patriarch of the family was very prominent in the business community in the very beginning of the tech space, like big, huge tech company. He was like the COO or something. And he was even honored in his retirement with a video of him flying off the handle, ripping phones out of the wall, and being verbally and otherwise abusive to his colleagues and coworkers and employees as a joke. That was like the personality that he was known for. And he was a horrific, horrific child abuser. And it has caused so much damage, near suicide. The wave of destruction and the carnage that has been left behind because of this one single man in his family. And he was a pillar of the community. I mean, everybody was like, oh, that could never happen, because they were so affluent. They had so much money, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. It was just...
And everybody loved them.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody said, oh, what a good guy, or what a good woman that is.
Yeah.
Wow, coach of the year, teacher of the year. You go to their funeral and people are lining up to sing their praises. It happens all the time. All the time. And it is so painful for the victims to see this person applauded when the truth is that person victimized them in a horrible way. Really sad. The next myth: when victims of childhood sexual abuse don't speak up until they're adults, they're always making it up. And this one, the injustice in this one makes me angry, because the fact of the matter is that our brains are so powerful, and they know our limitations, and they actually, in order to save us, repress many memories of our abuse so that we don't recover. Some of them we don't recover, we just never do. And then some of them we do, but not until adulthood, not until our subconscious brain makes a judgment that we're in something of a safe place. For me, it wasn't until I got married and moved away from my abuser that I started to have the memories that confirmed what I kind of always knew in the back of my head. So here's our brain doing something to protect us, and yet we get knocked sideways for it, because that's just the way that our brains operate. When something traumatic happens, especially when you're a child, our brain represses it. And it's not our fault. We don't ask for it to happen. And heaven knows I've talked to so many survivors who wish they could remember all the details. But it just doesn't work that way. And we've talked before about that myth of false memory syndrome, which is a myth. Big myth, big myth.
Yeah, big time.
Here's the next one. Child sexual abuse is only harmful if it involves penetration. No.
Not true.
No. Any kind of violation of your body, unwanted touching, inappropriate touching, oral contact, being forced to do something that you do not want to do in a sexual manner is damaging and harmful.
And if you're shown things that you don't want to see,
yes,
if you're asked to participate in things, or you're asked to, or even if you walk into a situation and you're obviously uncomfortable with it and you're not allowed to leave. That happened to me so often. I would walk into situations and I was mortified, but then I was not given the opportunity or the permission to leave the physical place I was in. I was forced to stay there.
Yeah, that's all. That's all abuse. And it can be just, all of it can cause horrific damage. And I have worked with survivors who were fondled and have developed pervasive, painful, traumatic depression that leaves them wanting to die day after day after day, just as I have when I work with survivors who were repeatedly raped. Because you have to remember that there's a huge emotional component involved in sexual abuse. It is a betrayal of the 9th degree, the 100th degree, whatever's the highest degree, that's it. Because the people who this usually happens with are people that you are supposed to be able to trust, and they betray you. And then they minimize it, and then they deny it. And all of that is so damaging. We have talked in the last several weeks. Last week, we talked about how do you cope when your abuser or your family denies the abuse. So much of the things that surround the abuse, and not just the act of the abuse, are traumatizing and damaging. You have to take the whole thing as a package and heal it and talk about it and acknowledge it. It's not just, quote unquote, that sexual act that is damaging. There is so much more
There's
involved.
so much of it that is so devaluing, and it's just all wrong.
Right. You're my property. I'll do to you whatever you want, whatever I want. Okay, the next myth. Children need only report their abuse to an adult for the abuse to be stopped. Yeah. Athena,
Yeah, no.
I know that you've lived through that one.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't work, you guys. It doesn't always help.
No, sometimes it does. And for those times, we're very grateful. But this is a myth, and it's important for this myth to be acknowledged, because this is victim blaming. If only you had told your mother, if only you told your father, if only you told your teacher, this wouldn't have happened to you. Well, you know what? A lot of us did tell. A lot of us did tell. But it didn't matter. Or it just got us into more trouble. So
Matt says that for some groups in affluent areas, it's actually a rite of passage.
Oh, sorry. You know, there was something in the news.
I've heard that also. I've also heard that, though. It's not the first time. I've heard that actually before, like a couple of times.
An elite boarding school, just within the last couple of days, there was news broke that generations of students passed through that school, and part of the quote-unquote initiation or graduation process, the rite of passage, involved sexual abuse of other students at the school. Someone said, oh, it was Susan this morning in chat. Susan, Shiny Blue Dress. If you do not follow her on Twitter, please follow her. She is just a pillar of the child sexual abuse prevention movement within the UK. She said that boys tend to be victimized more within institutions, whereas girls tend to be victimized more within the family. And I don't know about that, and I don't know whether that's more applicable to the British system than the American system, because I know we don't have as many institutions here that children go into. You know, we don't have the orphanages and the homes, the large institutional homes anymore where children go.
We did. My mom and my
used to.
My family members were all in and out of foster homes and group homes, and it was there was this one boys' home next to the house of my stepsister's boyfriend, and a lot of the boys there were actually really, really badly abused. There's another myth that was just tweeted in by Julianne. When your abuser dies, you are free and all is cured. Yeah, that's such a myth.
If only that were the truth.
Right.
And then the last one that we have on this page, if children don't physically fight back when they are sexually abused, then they must have enjoyed it or wanted it to happen. Girls are seductive and boys are happy to have the sexual attention of an adult or older child.
It just, that one makes me probably the most angry. Actually, all of them do, but I mean, that, right, that in and of itself just is such an atrocity in my eye. All of this is, it's very triggering, but yeah, no. Oh my gosh.
People do not understand the complexity of the emotions that a child feels, especially when they're being sexually abused by a family member. We come into this world hardwired, people, hardwired to bond with our primary caretakers. And when they violate that and they're abusing us, it doesn't kill off that desire to bond with our primary caretaker.
No, I got asked that actually in one of our private secret communities today. One of our members actually posted and said, do any of you find yourself missing your abuser once you cut off contact with them? And I responded yes right away. I mean, my main abuser, I have been out of contact with for 10 months. And I miss her. I mean, I miss her a lot, but I don't miss the real her. I miss the her that I thought she was, that I hoped she would be.
Right. You know, and I think for some of us, you know, people have asked me too, are you going to be sad when your abuser dies? And I think the sadness that I will experience when my abuser dies will be having to surrender that fantasy that suddenly he will become everything that I wanted him to become in my life. When we are missing our abuser because we've cut off contact with them, it is more for some of us about missing the hope that that person's going to change and just, you know, miraculously transform into the parent, the aunt, the sibling, the grandparent that we always wished they had been. It is common. It's very common. I see especially a lot of it around holiday time when people...
Well, yeah. And then for those of us who are like pressing in and actively still going through recovery and having new memories on a regular basis. Like for instance, I just this past week, Bobby, when did I first talk with you about? I think it was just this past week, about a week ago. I started having the memories of someone that I had thought previously, who I thought they were one of the people who was like my rescuer, my hero, because they would actually pick me up and take me away from the abusive home, and they would buy me food and they would buy me clothing and they would take me places. And I had praised them in my mind and sort of not worshipped them, but I really looked up to them and respected them, and I carried such a love, a deep love and respect for them, because I, in my childhood black and white thinking, as you know, my little girl that was tortured and abused and trafficked and whatever, I thought, oh, well, she's the good one and everybody else is the bad one. She is good and everyone else is evil. But it turns out the memories that I started having didn't make sense. Like the people she would take me to see and the circumstances surrounding certain things, it all started to make me go, oh, wait a second, that's not what I thought. That's actually, they aren't really the person that was rescuing me. They were actually like the ringleader of the causing more abuse in my life. And that was just so painful, you guys. I'm 42 years old and I'm just now having these memories. It's so painful. I just wish I could forget and move on. What were you going to say, Bobby?
I was going to say, sometimes people don't actively themselves abuse us, but they facilitate our abuse. And that's a huge betrayal as well. And that's exactly what she did to you, was facilitate and enable an abuser to have access to you. And there's nothing that says you're not lovable, like being traded for sexual favors.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
You know?
it's just yet another slap in the face. And it's hard for me to just start remembering that and not feel completely devalued. I mean, it's just painful, you guys. I mean, it's when the memories come and then they just keep on coming and they keep on coming. It's just not easy. It doesn't. I don't think, someone asked earlier this week, does it get easier? Does it ever get easier? I don't think it gets easier. I think we become more resilient. Like, we don't get immobilized for weeks and months at a time and need to be committed. It's like a blow to the solar plexus, and we grieve what we thought we had, and we pick up the pieces and we count the blessings and the things that we do have, and we move on. So it doesn't get easy. No, sorry. This is not the easy broadcast.
No, this is not the easy broadcast. I think for me, some things have gotten easier to navigate. But boy, if there aren't some things that still hit you like a ton of bricks when you least expect it.
Another myth just got tweeted in: abuse is easy to, quote unquote, just get over. But no idea how it impacts you physically, even 38 years later. Physical repercussions. A to the men. Yeah, yes. That is the truth right there.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. If you just don't think about it, it won't bother you.
Oh yeah, just move on. Why can't you just move on? That's just so long ago. Why don't you just move on already? Quit living in the past.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Well, if only that myth erased the brain damage, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We should be so lucky.
Yeah. Oh, but the brain damage is just a misnomer. Do you have any proof? Where's your MRI, Bobby? Do you have x-rays? Do you have things that are proving that you have brain damage? You're just being melodramatic. You're just dramatizing it all, right? Right?
Yeah. Boy, I heard that one.
Mm-hmm.
Melodramatic, overreacting, too sensitive.
Hypochondriacal.
Yeah. Histrionic. There's another good one. I had I don't know why I was giggling about this one the other day, why I even thought about it. In one of my lovely stays at a psychiatric ward, one of the psychiatrists there called me squirrely.
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 What is that supposed to mean?
Is that a medical term? Show me where that is in the diagnostic manual.
Let me know where that is in the medical dictionary as some sort of a diagnosis. Like, seriously, really?
Squirrely. And because I couldn't figure it out, I couldn't fix it, right? I mean, that's where I was at that point. To me, I was completely ashamed that she called me that, but I couldn't figure out what it meant, so I couldn't fix it, so I couldn't be unashamed.
Exactly. Or you just mentioned histrionic, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the term histrionic is actually a personality disorder that manifests itself in your late teens and early 20s, and it causes you to pretty much just sexualize every thought and every word and everyone around you and act promiscuously on a daily basis. Like, it's an actual personality disorder. It's a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that was something they made up, to be honest with you, because the root of histrionic is within the female anatomy. Hysterectomy, histrionic.
I did not know that was I didn't put two and two together with the root word. I didn't put it all together.
Well, we're not told that. That's a very, very old diagnosis that they need to chuck and take out of the. I have to go get my power cord. Will you riff for a while I acquire such a thing?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
I'll talk a little bit more about histrionic, and it's
Okay.
part of the cluster B, and I'll tie it all in with our narcissistic abuse
Oh,
event.
you're good. Okay.
On the fly like that. So yeah, the virtual event that we've been talking about to celebrate our very first birthday, woo! It is going to be on August 29th, and we have signups over on Bobby Parrish's website. If you just go to bobbyparish.com and click up on the little tab that says Narcissistic Abuse Event, you can sign up. And it's not super fancy like the way a whole bunch of other people's event signups are, where you get all these emails and like, yay, congratulations, and this and this and that. Like, we got you signed up. That's it. We've been getting some emails from some people about like, are you sure I'm signed up? I put my email in the little box, but I haven't received any information about the event. I don't know if I'm signed up for the event or not. I just want you to know that if I haven't responded to your email personally to let you know that you're on the list for the event, we will be sending out to all, I think there's 250 that are just signed up for the event. And then there's another like 350 that are part of our family of survivors that have signed up to receive emails from us, which we've never really sent out very many emails at all. So, but we're going to be sending out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds to hundreds and hundreds of people. We are going to be sending out information about this event, and we are super, super excited. So if you have not signed up yet, please go to bobbyparish.com, click on the tab that says Narcissistic Abuse Event, and just plug your name in there. And we're looking forward to it. And if you sign up for the live event and you aren't able to attend live, I believe you will be given access to the replay for free, and you won't have to pay for it. So sign up even if you can't attend live, so that you can at least get the free replay and not have to pay for it if you are interested. And if you are interested in volunteering as a moderator during the 4-hour event, I'm still, I believe that Richard Grannon, the Spartan Life Coach, gets back off of holiday tomorrow on the 18th. In fact, it's the 18th in the UK right now. Maybe he comes back today in the UK. So I'm going to be speaking with him this week. We're going to have a Skype chat and see if he wants to come and speak for just a few minutes on complex post-traumatic stress disorder and his new book called How to Take Revenge on a Narcissist during our virtual summit on August 29th. And Bobby, I forgot the time of the event. I know that we're working on 3 different time zones, you and Bree and myself. And then if Richard comes in, that's like a 4th time zone. So
Right. It's 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
And which would make it
8 a.m. my time.
Right. I tried to make it as late as I could for you, but still early enough that the people in the UK could watch without shoving it too far up against their bedtime.
Yeah.
So I think that will be 7 o'clock in the evening for them, 4 hours. So from 7 to 11.
Okay. Yeah. And then if they're signed up, they can get the replay as well, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to be, it'll be very similar to this, that we will be sending out downloadable resources that you can print and follow along during that. We'll be following a schedule on this 4-hour summit. It's going to be, if you've never attended a virtual summit before, you guys, I mean, plug that computer in, grab yourself some snacks, get yourself a pen and some paper or something to take notes on, and just enjoy and just learn and gobble up all the knowledge you possibly can, because with more knowledge that you receive, then the more equipped you will feel in your recovery journey. So it's very liberating. It's very empowering. So we just encourage you to do that.
We love empowerment.
Yeah.
Empowerment is awesome sauce.
It is awesome sauce, and it was not something that was given to us when we were first in recovery years ago. So it's not really, it's almost kind of like old school, new school. And I don't like to ever say it that way, but let's just be real, guys. It's a little like old school, new school, you know.
And there's still, unfortunately, a lot of old school left out there.
There are a lot of old school left out there, and we're not bashing any old school peeps. Like, awesome, you guys are great. However, if you're the type of person that finds yourself saying the sentence, well, this is how it's always been done. Why would we ever do it any different? This is how it's always been done. You should probably pause and ask yourself why you want things to always be done the same, and you don't ever want to learn anything new, because there are more people that need help and support in the abuse survivor community than can ever be helped ever by any licensed professional, which is why we need peer support groups like Bobby and I lead. We lead safe peer support groups, which is a very perfect segue to our sheets.
You're so good.
Our sheets that invite people to come and be invited into our safe community and message us and, you know, join some of our weekly Twitter chats. We have 3 of them. We have Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 a.m. in the UK. And that's this one, which is called No More Shame, hashtag No More Shame. And we have the one that's in the morning that's more for the UK audience, and that is at 7 a.m. Hawaii time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11, 12, 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's hashtag CSAQT, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. And so that's 6 o'clock p.m. Greenwich Mean Time in the UK. And then the OG, the original chat that started this entire movement. It was founded by Rachel Thompson from Rachel in the OC. You can find her on Twitter at Rachel in the OC. Excuse me. And our very own Bobby Parrish. And they moderate that chat, and they have a private secret Facebook group that is a safe online community for survivors. And that is on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time on Wednesdays. And that's hashtag Sex Abuse Chat.
Yay!
Did I leave anything out, Bobby?
No. If you want to join one of our private secret Facebook groups, please friend us on Facebook and then send us a message letting us know you'd like to join. And please don't be offended if we ask you a few questions, because we want to protect the safety of the people who are in the group from someone who might be any kind of a predator or someone who's abusive who wants to get in to do the people that we worked so hard to protect and nurture harm. So please don't be upset if we ask you questions. Let's move on to...
Bobby.
What's wrong?
We made Yellow Nehru cry.
Oh, bad cry?
I don't know, but I'm just sending you a hug, Yellow Nehru, because we love you. We're sorry if you're crying for a bad reason, but this chat is very triggering, and I'm sending you a virtual tweet hug right now because I can't hug you in real life. So we're sorry if you're triggered and if we're upsetting you. These are very delicate issues, and I'm glad your mom and dad are right there with you. Seriously.
Let's see here. Little tiny bits of technical difficulties.
I had some of those today too.
Oh, there we go. Yay! Confetti. Yay!
Yay!
Okay. This is how to make connection with us. Email. I am Bobby L. Parrish at gmail.com. Athena is Athena at athenamoberg.com. And then we have jointly the No More Shame Project at gmail.com. I am on Twitter now as my name, Bobby L. Parrish. Ms. Athena finally coached me into changing my name.
You are very coachable. I'm thankful. It just only took a gentle nudge, and I'm glad that it wasn't a long process. I'm glad that you changed that. You deserve to have everything in line and very professional.
It still freaks me out to see it.
I mean, you're a master's degree therapist for however many years. You are completely educated professional. You're a published author. You have an incredibly successful private practice. You know what? You're on Twitter professionally.
It freaks me out to see it.
Aww. Well, I'm proud of you. I am very proud of you.
I'll take that. Athena is at Athena Moberg, and then Trauma Recovery University is at Trauma Recovery U. There is no More Shame Project Twitter account. The Trauma Recovery University started out as the No More Shame Project, and we changed the name over. And then Facebook pages. you may follow Athena's business fan page at Athena Moberg fan page. My business page is Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. Facebook page personal for Athena is Dawn Athena Moberg, and mine is Bobby Parrish. And then we have our professional business together, Trauma Recovery University on Facebook. You can look us up on YouTube, Trauma Recovery University, or Roku TV, Trauma Recovery University, and we were also on Google+. And then all the time, you can find us at the nomoreshameproject.com, because we are currently in the process. We used to have Trauma Recovery University pointing. For those of you who are web savvy, that web address pointed to the No More Shame Project page, but we are, actually we is a misnomer, Ms. Athena.
No, it's we.
Is working very hard.
I'm in the process right now, you guys, of building our membership community for our paid members. All of you who are already with us prior to September 1st, 2015 are going to be grandfathered in as either charter members or founding members. And everyone after September 1st will have to pay to access the resources that we provide. We tested our concept of coming online and providing all these resources for you. There is a huge, huge, huge demand that we can't even keep up with. And so our concept was proven, and now we're shifting to a paid community so that we can do this full time. I am actually in the process of filing our articles of incorporation for our 501c3 nonprofit organization, so that this will be my full-time job, and I will actually, by the grace of God, receive a salary, and Bobby as well. We will both be founders and directors of Trauma Recovery University and Trauma Recovery Ministries. And that is just probably one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my entire life, and I'm going to be 42 years old, and it's such a blessing. I'm so excited, and I'm just praying that all of that comes to fruition. I did receive a message from our attorney while we were on this live broadcast. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we are rescheduled for Wednesday to go through the final paperwork so that we can file for the 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Yay!
Yay is right, because as we begin to fundraise and seek out donors, we will be able to give them a tax benefit if they do their donations online or in person or whatever, if they choose that we are a cause that they want to donate to. Then of those funds, Bobby and I will actually somehow receive a salary and be able to keep the electricity on and keep food in the refrigerator and not have to hustle on the side doing all kinds of crazy work. We both have other full-time jobs that we work right now currently in order to make income. I won't say what those are because I don't want there to be any type of conflict of interest of who it is that we work for and what it is that we do. But yes, we have been wearing too many hats, and I'm looking forward to the day that this gets to be our full-time everything. So you guys are worth it. You guys are amazing. So did I forget anything, Bobby?
I don't believe you did.
I have been trying to make sure, keep up with everybody's tweets, but this was probably the most active No More Shame Twitter chat ever. And if any of you that are savvy with all of this and would like to volunteer to do our Storify or some other form of cataloging all of the No More Shame hashtag from the hour of 6 p.m. Pacific to 7 p.m. Pacific, or 6:15 to 7:15, then send us an email, nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. We're looking for volunteers to help us behind the scenes on certain things like that. And I'm trying to think of anything else.
I'm just going to put my sign up one more time. Go register. Every time you say it's a 4-hour event, Athena, the Gilligan song goes through my head.
A
4-hour
tour.
I don't know why, but you've said that twice tonight, and both times I've had flashbacks to Gilligan's Island.
Theirs is a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
I know, so it doesn't make any sense, but it does. It's exactly what goes through my head. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. We don't take it for granted that you spend a precious hour or hour and 15 minutes of your week with us, and we are so thankful. Reach out to us. If there's anything that we can do, please be patient if it takes us a little bit of time to get back to you. We're going through our email banks as quickly as we can. And friend us on Facebook. We'll help you get plugged into a support group. And hop on over and download those downloadables and watch the videos. And make sure you are on our email mailing list, because that is how we will know whether or not to grandfather you in as charter members of Trauma Recovery University, so you never get charged a monthly fee.
I think they should be founders or founding members. I keep going back and forth because Wikipedia told me that they should be charter members, but I feel like they should be founding members.
Well, you know, I think we can call them whatever we want.
Yeah, you will know. We're going to be doing the unveiling. The initial unveiling, September 1st, is when the paid community begins. And my goal, I'm recording it here so I have some accountability from you all. My goal is to have all of the bugs worked out of our membership site and our paid community during Q4 of 2015. So as of January 1st, 2016, all the bugs will be worked out and I'll just be in maintenance mode and everything will be flowing. And it's been a huge labor of love for me. I can't wait to unveil our updated branding and just all of the fanciness that I get to do behind the scenes for this ministry and this Trauma Recovery University. It's just so awesome. This project has been such a joy for me. I feel like I've blossomed and come out of my cocoon and turned into this butterfly rather than a caterpillar over the past year and a half or so, Bobby. And I just want to thank you for being my partner in all things awesome. And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm grateful for every single one of you guys. Thank you.
Okay, I think with that, we are out of here. And we will see you next week during the week of our birthday. We'll see you on the 25th, and our birthday's the 27th. Yay!
And the virtual summit on the 29th. It's a very busy week.
That's right. It is.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg. This week's episode was on the topic of myths and truths of childhood sexual abuse. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about hypervigilance. It was a request from one of our community members, and we're going to be designating and dedicating an entire week of discussion to hypervigilance. And that starts off on Monday, and we have our morning chat, our evening time like this with our video cast, and Tuesday and all of our Storify, and we just can't wait for that. So thank you once again. Myself, Athena Moberg, and Bobby Parrish, thank you, and we do our best every week to provide everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. See you next week.